Good morning watch fans, and today I'm going to be talking about how come I have got hold of a fake Rolex Starbucks. So a little bit of context to how come I purchased a fake Rolex Starbucks. Now, the last couple of weeks I have been on holiday in Morocco. Now, whilst I was over in Morocco and looking through the markets, I realised there's a massive fake industry. Whether that's bags, whether that's watches, whether that's trainers, whether that's clothes, the fakes are massive over there. Now, I wandered into one little shop and I see that they had a lot of watches in the window. Now, on first glance, they weren't the best quality fakes. They were pretty bog standard, they looked cheap, they looked fake. There was a lot of Rolexes, APs, Pateks, but none of them really caught my eye. But as I was having a little look, the gentleman behind the counter turned around to me and said, "Would you like to look at some better ones?" Under the counter he pulled out a box. Now in this box was what I can only describe as their super clones, or their very high quality copies. Now when he opened the box, there was an array of Daytonas, Submariners, GMTs, there was a lot of APs, there was a few 5711s. There was a lot of watches now in this box that are very premium wanted watches. Now, I had a little look, and as I was glancing over them, I could see that these are very good quality fakes. Now, I will be showing you the watch in a little bit, so hang on, and I'll go into it in a bit of detail. Now, you may be wondering why I purchased it, and you might say, "Sam, why are you supporting this industry?" Now, the reason I purchased it is because I wanted to show you up close how good they are. Now, the gentleman was very hesitant about me filming anything in the shop. He let me look at everything, he showed me everything, but he didn't want anything put on camera. Now, I respected that because I didn't want to get him into trouble, and I didn't really want to get myself into any trouble. Now, when I was looking at these watches, I pulled up some images of Submariners on my phone to try and compare close up, or as close as I could on surface, the differences in these, and to be honest, it is staggeringly not very many errors. Now, the errors that you might see are very minuscule, and I'll show you these in a moment. Now, after speaking to the bloke for a little while and going back and forth, I managed to purchase this replica. I'm going to call it a replica because a fake sort of says that it's not very accurate. A replica means that it's made almost exactly, and now this is what I would say is a very high quality replica. Now, I'm not advocating the fake industry. I'm doing this video more as a way to show you and educate and sort of let people see what is actually out there, and how good and scary it is that the fake industry is getting very close to the real industry, especially on surface and just a first glance visual level. Now, I managed to pick up this watch for 100 British pounds. Originally the man was trying to get £400, but when I was point blank refusing to pay that amount of money, I managed to barter him down to £100, which tells me these watches are being bought for not a lot of money. Now, that tells me that they're making them in high numbers and they're everywhere. Now, I was told that this watch was made in Dubai. Whether that's true or not, I'm not sure, but I know a lot of fakes now are coming from Turkey. Morocco is probably somewhere where you're going to get the Turkey fakes, but the man did assure me these were made in Dubai, so I don't know whether there's a fake industry coming from over there and some very high quality watches are being bought over. If we have a little look at the watch now, so as you can see is a Rolex Starbucks model with the green bezel. I weighed this watch and it is an accurate weight. A couple of weeks ago I was actually looking at a few Submariners, and I can say that it feels in the hand very similar. So I've recently been holding Submariners in my hand, the legitimate models, and this one does feel very similar to it. Now, the movement is very smooth. Obviously it's an automatic watch. The bezel moves very smoothly and it feels nice and stiff. It doesn't feel a lot of play in it. The clasp, there's a glide lock, which I'll show you up close in a moment. So there's a glide lock in the clasp, and it has all the etchings that you would find on a Rolex Submariner. Now, the bracelet is a very high quality bracelet, and like I said, all the polishing and all the cutting looks almost identical to a legitimate Rolex Starbucks. Now, like I said, the slight difference now that I could notice looking up close to an actual Starbucks is the placement of the P on Oyster Perpetual on the O. Now, I can't guarantee that Rolex gets this right every time on every Starbucks, but every Starbucks I've seen, the P is slightly further to the left than it is on the replica. Now, the one other thing that I will say about this watch that is different to the, obviously, an original Rolex, or a real Rolex should I say, is that it doesn't keep the time as well. It's very accurate whilst wearing, but it doesn't have the same power reserve that an actual legitimate Rolex would have. But to the naked eye, and for somebody just wanting to wear it, it probably wouldn't make a difference. There's also the green lume on the watch, which again is an up-to-date model feature. The bracelet, very solid, holds very nicely. There's not a lot of play in that bracelet. I'll show you some close-up images of the watch. Food for thought. Why might people be buying these fake or replica watches? Now, there is a very good reason and legitimate reason why I see people purchasing them. Now, I've had it on good authority that a lot of people from Britain are buying these. Some high-profile people have been rumoured to be buying these from Turkey and different countries and wearing them and passing them off as legitimate Rolexes. Now, is it wrong to be wearing a fake Rolex in this day and age if you own the real Rolex? And by that I mean if you're out on the streets of London where watch crime is very high. Paul Thorpe has done some very good videos on this and looking into it, and if you haven't seen him, please check him out because I'm a very big fan of his work. Would it be worth wearing a replica if you own the original out and about when you're going out? So you know you've got that real one at home, but is it a risk to have that watch on your wrist? Would I rather lose £100 if someone tried robbing me, or would I rather lose potentially £12,000 to £13,000 if I bought that watch on the grey market? I know what the answer would be. Looking at this watch from the naked eye, nobody is going to tell it is not real. Unless you open up the case back and start looking at it with a loupe or really inspecting it, nobody is going to think this is a fake watch. Everybody who I spoke to or seen it on my wrist when I was wearing it, I wore it as a bit of a test to see if anybody would notice, asked to look at it, they all thought it was a real Rolex, and that was even people who had Rolexes on that were legitimately real. I know these were real. Now, like I said, if you're wearing a fake Rolex to pretend or try and create the impression that you can afford a Rolex or you have a Rolex, then I believe this is wrong. But I do think there is a slight place in this day and age for replicas because of the dangers that are currently happening with watch crime. Please like and subscribe. If you've got any questions about this, please don't hesitate to comment or let me know your thoughts on these replica watches.